Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about, so let's delve straight into the topics. So I am going to be giving you an update on some of Chelsea's transfer news like I have been doing recently on a regular basis. Then after that I am going to be giving you the latest on some of Arsenal's transfer news. Later on I will be talking about my club Manchester United on my next videos that I currently do. So yeah, so let's start with some of Chelsea's transfer news. So I am going to be giving you the latest on Dries Mertens. Going to be giving you an update on a few of the other players that have been on Chelsea's agenda, and also going to go through with you the players that could leave Chelsea in the summer transfer market and that. So the latest is on Dries Mertens, that reportedly, according to the mainstream media, Chelsea have identified Dries Mertens as their number one target to replace Willian, because Chelsea are resigned to losing Willian on a free transfer. Of course, Willian has been a long-serving player at Chelsea. He's now into his 7th season with them, and I think Chelsea paid around £30 million for him from Anzi Makhachkala back in 2013. Now, it did say recently, that Liverpool have expressed an interest in him. Liverpool and Chelsea have held negotiations. Also, it recently said that Arsenal are leading the race for Willian. But obviously, reflecting on his wage demands, that could be the stumbling block of him making his move to Arsenal. So it did say his wage demands would have to be lowered if his move to Arsenal was to materialise. I think it also said that Tottenham have also expressed an interest in Willian. Now, Chelsea do actually want Willian to stay. Willian has come out and give his overarching view on it, and he says he wants Chelsea to offer him a long-term contract. I think he wants a 3-year deal, but Chelsea are only willing to offer him a 12-month contract extension. Willian, of course, is the age of 31, but his current contract does expire on the 30th of June, which is, of course, next month. So there you go. So Chelsea, basically want a replacement for Willian. So the news is on Dries Mertens. Is that reportedly Dries Mertens has revealed that he is interested in making a move to Chelsea in the summer transfer market. Now, reportedly, Frank Lampard has been in regular contact with Dries Mertens over a possible transfer. Now, I'll reiterate some of the stuff that I mentioned recently, because it did actually say Liverpool have also been interested in him, and it said recently that Liverpool were willing to offer Dries Mertens a 3-year deal, because Dries Mertens is available on a free transfer because his current contract does expire with Napoli very, very soon. But actually, what's been coming out recently, is totally contrast to what was coming out the other day, because it said the other day that Dries Mertens is reluctant to leave Napoli, and that's he had no interest in leaving. But yes, so reportedly, Chelsea could get him on the board. Like I said, Dries Mertens has been a long-serving player at Napoli. He's now into his 7th season with them. He is their joint top goal scorer. I think he's got around 90 caps for Belgium as well. And he's the age of 32, is Dries Mertens. He can play as a winger, and he can also play as a forward. He has scored over 100 goals in all competitions for Napoli. And I think in the Serie A scored around 90 goals in 226 appearances. Napoli did pay around €9.5 million for him from PSV back in 2013. He's also a former Utrecht player as well. His versatility is, very, very good, and he's a very, very good player, is Dries Mertens. Obviously, hasn't played in the Premier League as yet, but I think, he would do very, very well in the Premier League, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So Chelsea have got, the opportunity to get Dries Mertens on a free transfer. So they probably believe, he will be a good, adequate replacement for Willian and that. But, Frank Lampard has been in regular contact, with the player. So that is the latest news on Dries Mertens. Another player that's been on Chelsea's agenda, and that is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Arsenal. But, a few clubs have been in for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, my club, Man United, Real Madrid, Barcelona have also been long admirers of him. Don't forget the other week it said that Inter Milan had expressed an interest. It said Aubameyang, I think, had a few negotiations with the Inter Milan players. And it actually said the other week that Inter Milan were emerged as the favourites to sign Aubameyang. Of course, they could be losing Lautaro Martinez to Barcelona. Don't forget, Inter Milan have got Mario Icardi out on loan at PSG. But I think Inter Milan looking to get rid of him on a permanent transfer. Now, it's looking very, very imminent that Aubameyang is going to be leaving Arsenal because Arsenal have made their decision regarding the player, and they've come to accept the fact that he does want to leave. There was some reports saying, that he could still make a shock decision and sign a new contract, but I'm very, very sceptical that Aubameyang is going to sign a new contract. Obviously, Arsenal have revealed their asking price for Aubameyang, and they will accept around £30 million for the player, so he is a cheap solution. Aubameyang is worth, I think, at least double £30 million, but Arsenal are willing to accept £30 million for him. Now, don't forget, it confirmed the other week that Arsenal have pulled out of contract talks. They've pulled out of contract talks with Aubameyang. But actually, Aubameyang's father has advised him, to sign a new contract with Arsenal and that. But Arsenal, will want to cash in for Aubameyang this summer rather than let him go on a free transfer in the summer of 2021, because that's when his current contract does expire. Aubameyang has been at Arsenal for over 2 years now. Arsenal did get him back in January 2018, from Borussia Dortmund. They paid £56 million for him, so he is one of Arsenal's most expensive signings. Aubameyang has made 75 appearances in the Premier League for Arsenal, and he has scored around 49 Premier League goals. And Aubameyang has got 61 goals in 97 appearances in all competitions and all of that. But Arsenal, have been trying to get him a contract, for quite some time. I think he's on around 200 grand a week on his current contract, so I think he's one of Arsenal's highest paid players. But Arsenal, from their perspective, would want to at least recoup the £56 million that they paid for him from Borussia Dortmund. Aubameyang is predominantly a central striker, but he can also play him out wide, so his versatility, of course, is very, very good. So there's a possibility, chance, that Chelsea could get him on the board. If Chelsea, did get Aubameyang on the board, it would be one of the biggest narratives in, football in history and that. But, the question is, will he continue applying his trade in the Premier League if he leaves, or will he go to Spain, or will he go to Italy? Because, he's well Premier League proven now, because he's been in the Premier League for over 2 years as Pierre, Emerick, Aubameyang. Yes, he hasn't that. So, yes, so Chelsea are heavily linked with the player. Obviously, another player that's been on Chelsea's agenda, and that's Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen. Now, I give you the news regarding Kai Havertz, didn't I, recently? And it said, they've prioritised Kai Havertz over Philippe Coutinho. Now, there's a few clubs that have been in for Kai Havertz. Don't forget, my club, Man United, have also been in for him. Liverpool have been in for him as well in the past. The Bayer Leverkusen sporting director, he came out quite a few weeks ago and made an admission saying that Kai Havertz could leave Bayer Leverkusen in the summer. I think also too Bayern Munich have been in for him in the past. Now, up until this point, Kai Havertz has spent the entirety of his career with Bayer Leverkusen. Of course, don't forget, he became the youngest debutant in the Bundesliga, and he also, became their youngest goal scorer ever, and became the youngest, player to reach a milestone of 50 and 100 appearances in the German top flight. I think he's been in Bayer Leverkusen's senior squad now for a good 4 years or something like that. He's made over 100 appearances for them. Can play as an attacking midfielder and can also play as a winner. It would cost a substantial amount, because I think Bayer Leverkusen have said, they would want around £90 million for the player. Could cost even £100 million. But, he's been another player on their agenda. But yeah, delve into news on Philippe Coutinho. Now, what's been coming out recently, regarding Coutinho is totally contrast to what was coming out, was it last week or a couple of weeks ago now? Because it said, I think, last week or a couple of weeks ago that, Chelsea, really, really wanted Philippe Coutinho. Of course, Barcelona are willing to get rid of Philippe Coutinho. I think Barcelona have said they want in the 80-odd or 90-odd million pound range for him. Of course, Barcelona are not going to recoup the full £142 million that they paid for him from Liverpool back in January 2018, because, Coutinho, was very, very inconsistent for Barcelona. Of course, he's on loan at Bayern Munich at the moment, and of course, Bayern Munich are not willing to get Philippe Coutinho on a permanent transfer. They're not willing to get him on a permanent transfer and that. But, it did say, Chelsea, wanted him quite a few weeks ago. Of course, Coutinho's versatility is very, very good, though. He can play as an attacking mid. He can also play as a winner. I think he's also been deployed as a secondary striker before. I think Coutinho is 27 years of age. I think there's only two clubs, that he's done well at. I thought he enjoyed a good 5 years with Liverpool, Philippe Coutinho. And I think he also, did very, very well at Inter Milan. That's where he began his senior career at Inter Milan. I think when he was younger as well, he had a loan spell with Espanyol, where he played under Mauricio Pochettino's guidance. But Chelsea, I don't think now have got any interest in recommending Coutinho win. Do you think if Coutinho came back to the Premier League, he would live up to expectations? Because don't forget, he's played in the Premier League before with Liverpool, and he lived up to expectations with them. But yeah, Bayern Munich don't want to get him on a permanent transfer and that. So that's the players that have been on Chelsea's agenda. I think they've also showed an interest in Timo Werner from RB Leipzig, but there's been a few clubs that have been in for Timo Werner. I've been keeping up to date with the news on Timo Werner, haven't I, on a regular basis and that. So I think the players that I've expected to leave Chelsea in the summer, or could leave Chelsea in the summer, like I said, Willian's, probably going to leave on a free transfer. There's also been rumours emerging out saying that Olivier Giroud could be going. I think Chelsea have been in negotiations over extending his contract, Olivier Giroud. Also too, Caballero, he could also go. Batshuayi, he's another player that could also leave Chelsea. Ross Barkley, there's been possible rumours about, him leaving. Could possibly, Jorginho leave Chelsea. So I think Chelsea, probably get rid of around 4 or 5 players in the summer transfer market. But like I said to you, definitely, Frank Lampard will be given at least another season with Chelsea, because this is his first full season at the moment. Now, obviously, Chelsea have already got a signing on the board, and that's Hakim Ziyech from Ajax. Don't forget Chelsea, paid around £30 million for the player. I think he's predominantly number 10, but I think he'll be a good addition to Chelsea's squad, will Hakim Ziyech, because I thought he did very, very well at Ajax. But he will be joining Chelsea in the summer transfer market. Of course, it is Frank Lampard's first signing as Chelsea manager. It's his first signing as Chelsea manager in that. But like I said, if Chelsea, don't do well next season, then, Frank Lampard has got a huge predicament ahead of him. And I don't think, Frank Lampard is a foreseeable future for Chelsea as a manager, because, like I've said before, Frank Lampard is inexperienced as a manager. He only began his managerial career last season with Derby. To be fair, though, he did get Derby to the playoff final. Frank Lampard, was a very, very good long-serving player for Chelsea. He enjoyed 13 years with them. And, he's their all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals, is Frank Lampard. So he does know the traditions and that of the football club. But like I said to you, he will be given at least another season at Chelsea, will Frank Lampard. And like I said, Chelsea have lost quite a few players in recent years. Don't forget they lost Eden Hazard last summer to Real Madrid. Of course, Eden Hazard endured 7 years with Chelsea. I think Chelsea did make a bad mistake by getting rid of Eden Hazard, because he was, frankly, their best player. They also got rid of Courtois, was it, to Real Madrid last summer. They did actually, get Kepa Arrizabalaga in as his replacement. And Chelsea, paid around 71 million for him, was it? Something like that. So he's actually the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. They lost Diego Costa and Alvaro Morata in recent years as well. So they have lost quite a few of their players of Chelsea. And like I've said to you, Chelsea have sacked a hell of a lot of managers in a short period of time. They've definitely not sacked more managers than us in the last 6 or 7 years, because, we've sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. We sacked Moyes, Van Gaal and Mourinho. And obviously, Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. But like I said, Chelsea sacked Maurizio Sarri at the end of last season. Maurizio Sarri only enjoyed 1 season with Chelsea. Of course, even though he did win the Europa League with Chelsea. Of course, they progressed to the League Cup final last season. Also, too, they sacked Antonio Conte, even though he won the title in his first season with Chelsea. They also sacked, Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho endured 2 spells with Chelsea, don't forget. And I think he won around 3 Premier League titles with Chelsea, did Jose Mourinho. Also, too, they got rid of Di Matteo, they got rid of Gus Higgins, Rafa Benitez, Villas-Boas. I think they did actually win the Champions League under Villas-Boas' guidance. Don't forget they also sacked Carlo Ancelotti, Avram Grant, Scarada. So Chelsea have sacked a hell of a lot of managers in a short period of time. Yes, they haven't that. So that's the latest on Chelsea's transfer news. Of course, Chelsea are sitting 4th in the Premier League at the moment, and I think Chelsea are convinced that they can get qualification for the Champions League for next season. But Chelsea, probably do need around two or three signings, if they are to become title contenders next season. So yeah, so that's the latest on Chelsea's transfer news. Now let's delve into some of Arsenal's news. So I'm going to be giving you some additional information on Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid now. I have been keeping up to date of what's been going on with him on a regular basis. Now, I think definitely Thomas Partey to Arsenal is on. Obviously, Thomas Partey's agents, by the way, have recently come out and made an apology for the Manchester United and Arsenal Instagram post, hinting where his next club will be. So his agents have actually, apologised about this. Now, obviously, it confirmed last week that Arsenal had stepped their interest up in Thomas Partey. Obviously, Thomas Partey's father has advised him to leave Atletico Madrid, and his father actually confirmed that Arsenal have been in negotiations with Atletico Madrid over the possibility of signing Thomas Partey. But obviously, it was totally contrast to what his agent come out and said the other week, because Thomas Partey's agent said the other week that he denied that Arsenal and Atletico Madrid had any negotiations over, Thomas Partey. So he denied that they had any negotiations in that. And he did say Arsenal could only sign Thomas Partey on one condition, and that's if they get qualification for the Champions League. And I'm very, very sceptical that Arsenal will get qualification for the Champions League, because obviously, they are sitting 9th in the Premier League at the moment. And I think they're 8 points behind Chelsea, something like that. But yeah, there's a chance that Arsenal, could get Thomas Partey on the board. Obviously, he has got around the £43 million release clause in his contract with Atletico Madrid as Thomas Partey. Obviously, Thomas Partey did recently reveal he was unhappy with Atletico Madrid's recent contract offer, because Atletico Madrid have been in negotiations over getting him a new contract, Thomas Partey. He did say that Atletico Madrid are willing to double his wages from $65,000 to $135,000 a week if they can give him this new contract. And it did say his release clause will rise to around £90 million, and that this is what it had basically said. But he's not happy with Atletico Madrid's contract offer. But I think he's already confirmed that, he wants to leave Atletico Madrid, does Thomas Partey. And Thomas Partey, is predominantly a defensive midfielder. I think he's been long servant now, Atletico Madrid, as Thomas Partey. He has been there since 2012, so he's now, I think, into his 8th season with Atletico Madrid. I think he's made over 150 appearances in all competitions. And I think he's in his mid-20s, he's 25 or 26 years of age. I think he's still in the contract now with Atletico Madrid until 2023 is Thomas Partey. But definitely Arsenal are in search for a midfielder, because the likes of Lucas Torreira and Xhaka and Guendouzi haven't really lived up to expectations. But do you think he'd succeed if he came to the Premier League, Thomas Partey? I've got to say he's done very, very well in the years he has been with Atletico Madrid. But I don't think Atletico Madrid want to offload him, because like I've said to you before, Atletico Madrid have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. Don't forget they lost Griezmann last summer after he endured around 5 years with them. They lost Diego Godin after he endured 9 years with Atletico Madrid. They also lost Rodri last year. They did recruit quite a few players in, Atletico Madrid, they got Felix in for £113 million, fourth most expensive player in the world. They got Kieran Trippier in, Thomas Lemar. They've recruited Costa and Alvaro Morata in recent years. So there you go. But they are sitting sixth in the La Liga, are Atletico Madrid. But don't forget, I'll reiterate some of the stuff I also mentioned a couple of days ago, because it said, my club, Manchester United, have expressed an interest in Thomas Partey. And it actually, said a couple of days ago that Thomas Partey's preference is to join Manchester United. So it said he'd actually, rather come to Man United rather than go to Arsenal. This was stemming from Sadiq Adams, who specifies on African transfers. He confirmed that Thomas Partey wants to come to Manchester United because we're also in search for a holding midfielder. So there you go in that. Obviously as well, Arsenal are in search for the striker, because obviously, they're looking for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. I think there's been a few strikers on their agenda who could replace Aubameyang. I think one striker that's been on their agenda is Odsonne Edouard from Celtic. And I think for Arsenal to get him, they'd have to pay around £25 million for the player. I think it said there was interest in Luka Jovic as well. But, I think Aubameyang is definitely going to be leaving them. I think, players, there's going to be more than Aubameyang that probably leaves Arsenal in the summer. There's been rumours, emerging out saying that Lacazette could be going. Possibly, they could get rid of Mesut Ozil. Ozil's been a long-serving player for them. Ozil's now into his 7th season with Arsenal. Mkhitaryan, don't forget, he's out on loan with Roma. He's Mkhitaryan. I think actually, he'll probably end up joining Roma on a permanent transfer. I can't see Mkhitaryan going back to Arsenal. Like I said, maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles could go. He's been playing as a right back, for the vast majority of his Arsenal career. So Ainsley Miles, could go. Possibly, Lucas Torreira could go. So yeah, I do expect, players to definitely, leave Arsenal. And like I said to you, Arsenal have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. And there's some players, in recent years, that Arsenal shouldn't have got rid of. Of course, don't forget, they got rid of Alexis Sanchez back in January 2018 as part of a swap deal, of Mkhitaryan, going to them. Sanchez, enjoyed a good 3-4 years, with Arsenal, so they got rid of him. Obviously, they lost Aaron Ramsey in the summer of 2019. Aaron Ramsey was a long-serving player for Arsenal. He enjoyed 11 years with them. He went to Juventus on a free transfer last summer. Did Aaron Ramsey. So really, they shouldn't have got rid of him. Lost Jack Wilshere. They shouldn't have got rid of him. Also, too, they got rid of Robin Van Persie back in 2012. They also got rid of Samuel Nasri. I think, was it last summer, Danny Welbeck left, Koscielny left. Steven Lichtsteiner left. So they have lost quite a few of their imperative players over the years of Arsenal, definitely in that. But like I said, Mikel Arteta will be definitely given at least another season with Arsenal. Again, same perception as what I've got of Frank Lampard at Chelsea. I don't think is the foreseeable future for Arsenal is Mikel Arteta. Don't get me wrong, before the football season that was suspended, they looked much better under Mikel Arteta's guidance. Arsenal, they had improved, but there again, they have drawn a lot of games since Mikel Arteta got recommended in. Now, it is a transition period for Arsenal, and quite a few clubs, I think, are in transition, including my club, Man United. But, Mikel Arteta is Arsenal's third manager this season, because before they had Arteta, they had Freddie Ljungberg. He came in on a temporary basis. And before they had Freddie Ljungberg, they had Unai Emery. And Unai Emery enjoyed 18 months with Arsenal. But, wasn't the right manager, to elevate Arsenal forward. But, Arteta does deserve at least another season. I know Mikel Arteta is inexperienced as a manager. Obviously, I think he's got is it a 3.5 year deal with Arsenal? That's the contract he signed when he got appointed in earlier on in the season. Obviously, before he was at Arsenal, he was at Man City. Arteta was a coaching assistant alongside Pep Guardiola at Manchester City for a good 3 years or so. So he's probably, taken a few ticks off Pep Guardiola, and that Arteta knows Arsenal inside out, because I think he enjoyed around 5 or 6 years as a player for them. Don't forget he played for Everton in his playing career. I think he played for Rangers as well. Didn't he play for Sociedad, if I'm correct? But yeah, Arsenal will give him at least another season, because he's still in the process of rebuilding, because Arteta's only made 2 signings at the moment. He hasn't not yet made a permanent signing for Arsenal, because he's got 2 players out on loan, because obviously, he got Pablo Mari back in January. Arsenal got him on loan from Flamengo. Don't forget, he's also an ex-Man City player, is Pablo Mari, but I don't think he ever played for Man City, if I'm right. Arsenal, I think, do have the option to make the deal permanent, for Pablo Mari. Whether they make the deal permanent, I do not know. Don't forget, they got Cedric Soares from Southampton. He's obviously, on loan with them. I think also Arsenal have got the option to make the deal permanent for him as well. So he's only made, he's only got 2 players in on loan at the moment. And taking into account Partey, is inheriting the players that Emerick brought in last summer, because Arsenal did recruit a good 4 or 5 players in last summer. They brought Kieran Tierney in for 25 million. Tierney's a very, very good left back. He did very, very well at Celtic. I don't really have a perception on him at Arsenal, because I know that he's had quite a few injuries, so far at Arsenal's Kieran Tierney. But he's a very, very good player. They got David Luiz in last summer, don't forget. Arsenal, they paid £8 million for David Luiz. He wasn't Arsenal's number 1 choice, but they just saw it as that it was a cheap solution. So this is why they decided to get David Luiz. They've got a few centre-halves now in their team. Obviously, William Saliba's going to be joining them, I think, in the summer, because Arsenal did get William Saliba from St Etienne. I think if the season does resume in June, doesn't Saliba, then officially join Arsenal? But Arsenal have got him on the board anyway. They did get him last summer, but he got loaned back to St Etienne for the remainder of the season. Obviously, don't forget they got Dani Ceballos. I'm very, very sceptical, though, that Arsenal are going to get Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer. I think Real Madrid have said they want around 44 million to let him go permanently. And obviously, they got Nicolas Pepe. And they paid £70 million for Pepe. So I think he's Arsenal's most expensive signing. Enjoyed a difficult start to his Arsenal career, but I think, as time went on, there were a lot of aspects of his game that really, really improved. He was also very, very good at Lille, was Nicolas Pepe and that. But yes, so taking into account, Arteta's inheriting, them players Emerick brought in. There's still a couple of players that Arsenal have got from the Arsene Wenger era. Of course, Arsene Wenger enjoyed 22 years with Arsenal. And like I've said to you before, I think he enjoyed a good 12, 13 years out of the 22 years he was there. I think the mistake Arsenal made, was they got rid of him too late. I think they should have got rid of, Arsene Wenger at an earlier point. Obviously, Arsene Wenger, did leave a lot of deadwood behind, let's be honest. But Arsenal, do want to make signs in the summer, because they want to get back to dominating football again. They want to get back to how there was in the early days under Arsene Wenger. Don't forget they had that unbeaten season, in 2004. I think that's the last time Arsenal won the Premier League. Don't forget they are the most successful team in FA Cup history, because they have won, 13 FA Cups of Arsenal and that, But they do want, to make signings, so there you go. But like I said to you, they have got a lot of good players in their team of Arsenal. They really, really have. I think Ozil should go. I think they should have got rid of Ozil a few years ago, to be quite honest with you. He can have some good games, can Ozil, but, he is aging up now, let's be honest about that. So, yeah, there'll be more videos coming up very, very soon on the channel. I'll be talking with you a bit about my club, Man United. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.